Yo, 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 what's up, all you burner stones and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Freezing.
Oh, in the frozen tundra. Hey, all you vipers out there, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal, smoking some lemon pepper grown by our friend Big Earl. And this is an uppity strain I talked about on another show, so we're not going to go into all the deets on this, but it is a great strain. It is great for when you just want to be alive and fun. But how about this cold weather, everyone?
Ooh.
If you are in the United States, from Colorado to the Northeast to all the way to Texas, all the way to Florida, you are cold right now. And it is snowing. It is snowing in Florida, in the Panhandle.
Covered ground snowing, not just like a couple flakes. Yeah,
we
that's
were just
crazy.
in Pensacola last year for vacation, Mrs. Weedman and I and Yuki, and it's beautiful there. They got 4 to 5 inches of snow in Pensacola.
That's nuts.
Panama City got like 3 to 4 inches of snow.
When is the last time that happened?
I have no idea. I don't. They might have gotten some flurries or something, but never like. I was watching TikTok today, and people were talking about. I don't have a shovel.
Yeah, I bet they don't.
Most of these people have never seen snow like this in like alive. Like I was just watching.
They don't have salt. They don't have
they have
nothing.
There's no trucks.
Right.
There's no plows.
Oh, come on. We were in Seattle, and they don't even have plows and trucks. They don't even have salt.
But most of these people, I don't think have seen a snowstorm like this before in their lives, like living in it. Like they might have been somewhere, but it's crazy. I can't believe it, how much snow they got. So it's cold. It is a very cold week here in all of the United States. And you know what?
Here in Chicago, on my car thermometer today, it ranged from 3 to 5 degrees.
That's without the wind chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the wind chill, it's like minus 15, I think, today, wasn't it?
I think 19 or crazy.
Something like that. That's nuts. So hopefully you're out there staying warm. If you see somebody out in the streets, if you're out having to be wandering around and you see some cold people, man, buy them a cup of hot cocoa or something, just like help people out at this time of this need. There's a lot of people out there that don't have what they need to keep themselves warm. Hopefully they're finding shelters, and there's a lot of shelters people can go find. So hopefully you're out there and you're staying warm out there, because do not be sleeping on the streets right now.
No
do
way.
not. Find some place to go. There's always help out there, right?
Yes.
So let me take another hit of this wonderful joint.
It's one of those days you need a little extra.
I love this weed. It's really good.
It is.
So we got nothing going on right now in the cannabis world. Actually, it's not true. We're going this Saturday to Mars Brewing Company. They're having we're not setting up shop or anything like that. We're just going to be there hanging out. Mars Brewing Company. Is that on Iron Street?
On Iron Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what neighborhood is that? Do you know?
I think it's technically Pilsen.
Pilsen? Okay.
Maybe?
From 3 to 7, they are doing a cannabis event. I love Mars Brewing Company. If you like good beer, great beer. If you like CBD drinks and Delta 9 drinks, they have their own there. And then also they have the coolest game room.
They're just cool. They're just cool.
Ed and Mike, the owners, I've known them for
they do cool things.
Almost 20 years
cool
now.
Guys.
Yeah, they're just Ed walks around with a karaoke machine and sings in the middle of public. Just starts singing.
That's great.
Yeah, and Mike is just the quiet. He handles all the business on the ground floor, but Ed is the front man, the David Lee Roth, and then you have your Eddie Van Halen, which is Mike. If you guys know Van Halen, how they rolled. So, but Mars Brewing Company this Saturday, 3 to 7, we'll be there hanging out. Catch me if you can. I might be rolling some doinks.
It's at like 36th and Iron Street.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think now they used to
Bridgeport.
have it's Bridgeport.
Bridgeport.
They used to have a really good menu. I think they just went straight to pizza now. So I guess we'll be getting our pizza there.
Yeah.
So, but fun spot. If you like beer, if you like video games, they have a great arcade in there. And if you like just a cool spot to hang, you will appreciate this place. They've done a great job. They've been a pillar of Bridgeport. They also own Maria's. Their mom does, and they own it. And it was a speakeasy, liquor store in the front, speakeasy in the back, and then they built a restaurant next door called Kimski's. And we've been to a couple of events there, and Kimski's is great. It's Polish, Korean, and fusion food. Yeah. It's pretty good.
And that was pretty bad. Pilsen and Bridgeport. Come on, Susan. You know Chicago a little better than that.
You do know Chicago a little bit better than
shame,
that. This is
shame.
What else is going on? Oh, we're watching a new show. We're on the third episode, American Primeval. Oh my God.
It's interesting.
Taking place like in the Utah area of the 1800s, right? When
Early settlers,
Brigham Young was starting the whole Latter-day Saints, right? Movement and church. And they were having their territory, and he was Governor Brigham Young. And then you have a little like fort post up or trading post there with Bridger, who's like my favorite character of the whole show. The guy that smokes the big long
some
weird
early
pipe.
settlers had set up shop and created villages. Pioneers.
A lot of Native American tribes who are just fucking great with their bow and arrows. Holy shit!
Cow.
That looks like it's coming at you. If that was in 3D, it would look like it fucking hit you right square in the fucking forehead.
I would not want to be those battles, the way that they portray the battles. So the setting is real vibey, kind of like if you watched Succession, where everything like just was super cool and vibey and neat. That's what kind of caught us when we watched the preview for this series. It was like, ooh, that looks really intense. So it's very theatrical, and the style of videography is kind of dark and mysterious, and the fight scenes. So these arrows, these Indians just come out of nowhere. They've got eyes everywhere, and all of a sudden it's just like pew 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 pew. Oh, yeah. You don't even see it coming, and it's like incoming, and there's just like hundreds of these fast-moving projectile.
It's crazy.
Death tools.
Crazy.
They are weapons.
It's
man.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's pretty intense.
It's a good show. We're on episode 3. Yeah, we're on episode 3.
Whew.
And it's so far so good. I'm looking forward to watching the next episode, and we'll let y'all know how it goes for the season. So, and I suggest watching it. It's on Netflix if you have it.
So, well, we didn't we explained like the dynamic, but it's about people trying to get to destinations where other people that they know have settled, and so the character that we're following right now, and I don't know if that changes every season. We don't know yet. But it's a woman and her child trying to reach her husband. And she's trying to get through all of these little pioneer settlements. I don't know if it's her husband.
I think it's her son.
She said it's her husband. It is her
because
husband.
she killed. I don't want to ruin. Sorry, spoiler
so
alert.
So she's trying to get to her husband who's in this town, and nobody will get her there.
Right.
They keep like derailing her trail, and she has money.
Because the trail to get from that port,
you have to go through terrible territory.
To this place she wants, Spring Creek or something like that. They call it the dead zone. You die going there unless you have like a lot of guns. Yeah. And so they keep on telling her no, but she's one tough.
She's not taking no.
No, she straight up just blew somebody away. Yeah. Like it was nothing. But that Frenchman had it coming to him.
Yeah, he did.
That Frenchman had it coming to him. So good show. We also watched another show this weekend. It was kind of funny. It brought us back to the 90s, early 2000s. The Jerry Springer documentary.
Oh my God.
Oh, did that bring back?
We were Jerry Springer enthusiasts.
Oh yeah,
when it first came out, we were like, what is even on the TV right now? When
he went from just a normal sit-down talk show, which was boring as fuck when nobody watched it, till he went to like the next to like level 100. Yeah. And I don't know if all you out there know who Jerry Springer is. Probably most of you do. But his shows back before they started censoring shit was out of control. That was some fucked up crazy shit, and it
was kind of like the rag mags on TV. The more complicated and uneducated, like the more complicated the situation was, and the more uneducated the people were.
Yes,
they thrived off of that because it ended up it would result in heated arguments and fighting and chair throwing.
The producers in the back would egg it on with people. Yeah. Like they were showing like how they got these people.
I knew people fought on those shows when you see the hair pull. But they were saying like women literally lost clumps of their scalp because these girls would get in the hair pull fights.
Oh.
Fingernails popped off. Like they said, not even just the nail, like the actual your natural nail and the fake nail.
People, man, some like
stitches, broken
and
noses.
The audience going nuts, crazy for it. It was
that
just
show was nuts. That show was nuts.
That show could be showed today, unfortunately.
But the producer and the director, like they really kind of got lost in the sauce on that show.
Yeah.
They took it too far for too long.
I mean, they beat Oprah.
And it beat them
They
up.
became the number one show.
Crazy.
They beat Oprah.
Jerry. We never went.
No, we should have. But
flash everybody.
Oh my gosh.
That was the later years. Was the girls you would
but
flash
then they
boobs
censored it.
And you get beads.
That show should have been on HBO.
Oh my gosh.
And then you would be able to see everything, like
Everything.
one of those cable Showtime, whatever. Then you would be able to see everything.
Wow.
That'd have been great. They would have done some
I think
more
we saw
Rogers.
enough.
But yeah, but that
really
period
do.
too. You got to think you had they were talking about that era. You had Jerry Springer. You had Stern, Howard Stern, who was like the shock jock.
Shock jock.
Yeah, you know, he was his heydays was like 80s to like 2000s. You know, his early 2000s, but his heyday was that 90 era, man, when people just loved Stern. So, and they said Springer, and then who else? They mentioned one other, and I can't remember. We were pretty high that night.
I don't
know. But they were talking about like that shock and awe era of TV. Like nowadays, you couldn't do shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, unless it was like on cable TV
Yeah.
and stuff, and people would probably still be pissed
They're
off
like,
about
thank
it.
God we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
There were things that would have happened that we would have gone down a lot sooner.
Oh yeah, crazy. So I suggest if you were a Jerry Springer fan, or if you weren't a Jerry Springer fan, you want to know what the show was all about back when we were all watching it. Because I worked nights, so I was always home. Mrs. Weedman and I were at 11 o'clock. We were sitting at the TV having lunch.
Kids would be napping.
Yeah, we'd come back from the gym or something like that too, and we would watch Jerry Springer on. even if we saw the show 2 or 3 times, we'd still watch
Just
it. 'cause
background noise. Funny.
Oh my gosh, crazy shit. What else? Anything else? I think that's
No,
it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
You want to get the show started?
Let's get the show started.
All right. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but I guess it'll be for the next show. So let's talk about it. Hemp microbes. Study leads to more sustainable farming methods. Hemp can save the world, right?
Sure can.
Yeah. Hemp has become increasingly popular for versatile uses. CBD-rich varieties are in high demand for pharmaceutical products, with fiber-rich varieties are valued for industrial applications like textiles. Now, a University of Houston study of hemp microbes published in the Journal of Scientific Reports may help scientists create special mixtures of helpful microbes to make hemp plants produce more CBD or have better quality fibers. As a community of tiny organisms, including microbes, the plant microbiome helps plants absorb nutrients, handle stress, and produce valuable compounds. A study led by Abdul Latif Khan, assistant professor of biotechnology at the Cullen College of Engineering Technology Division, examined the communities of microbiomes living in and around the roots. It's called rhizosphere, and the leaves, the phyllosphere, of 4 types of hemp plants. Khan's team also compared how these microorganisms differ between hemp grown for fiber and hemp grown for CBD production. In hemp, the microbiome is important in terms of optimizing the production of CBD and enhancing the quality of fiber. This work explains how different genotypes of hemp harbor microbial communities to live inside and contribute to such processes, reports Khan. We showed how different types of hemp plants have their own special groups of tiny living microbes that help the plant grow and stay healthy. Understanding these microorganisms can also lead to more sustainable farming methods, using nature to boost plant growth instead of relying heavily on chemicals, said Wagar Ahmad, the paper's first author of the doctoral students of Khan. Star Trek reference, sorry everybody. Different genotypes have different microbes affecting physiology, nutrient uptake, stress resilience, and production of secondary metabolites such as CBD. The findings might suggest that the endophytic microorganisms have a major role in impacting CBD production and high-quality hemp fiber, said Khan. And before I turn it over to Mrs. Weedman, don't forget to check out 8decades.com to get all your cannabis accessory needs. Check out Mrs. Weedman's baby, her great and amazing smoke set, tray set, ashtray, tool, also the 8 Decades hemp clothing line, plus our steamroller, our grinder, our don't forget our jars, our 8 Decades jars, protect that weed all the time. Also, Mr. Weedman's, if you want to support and buy a t-shirt or a hoodie, Mr. Weedman would really appreciate it, because if you support us, you keep this show going. You're investing in this show. We don't have sponsors on this show. I'm not saying we're never going to, but the sponsor is 8 Decades. And by you investing in our website and buying something, you get to keep this show going. And we keep on bringing you the news.
We're like WTTW.
Yes.
That's a Chicago educational channel.
It is. PBS, right?
PBS.
Yes.
Public Broadcasting Syndicate.
That's it, right?
Right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sesame Street,
Been
Julia
more-
Child, The Muppet Show, they all started there. So think of us as your like PBS of cannabis.
And we just had someone buy the tray set. I don't remember their name, the smoke set, but I really appreciate you out there. Do you remember the city it was going to?
Well, we get orders all the time, so
yeah. Well, we appreciate your support with the smoke set. So thank you so much, everybody out there. So, Mrs. Weedman, consuming cannabis is not required for weed-related impact.
That's right. You want more
good
weed
right now?
All right.
Tell us about it.
All right, everybody. Cultivating cannabis at home is a privilege, even in some states with legalization reform. There are some states where growing weed is still illegal, despite years of adult use laws in place. Those who grow their own often speak of the benefits. These consumers know precisely what goes into their weed, and they enjoy the tactile experience of turning it into a dank, smokable product. These sentiments were echoed in a poll by the Harris Poll for Royal Queen Seeds, a seed company that benefits from people cultivating their own cannabis. It's also revealed that home grows might be good for mental health.
It was for mine. It is for mine.
Yeah. The poll was nationwide, gathering data from 2,000 adults in February of 2024, with over 700 of the respondents being cannabis consumers. 81% of this cohort agreed that consumers should have the right to grow weed at home, and 62% said that they would prefer to grow their own rather than buy it. Of those who had experienced growing at home, 34% did so because they said it felt safer than purchasing at a dispensary. This data aligns with most assumptions about home growing, but the answers got more interesting when asked how cultivating cannabis made people feel. The survey weighed the benefits of growing weed from multiple perspectives. Cannabis consumers who grow at home showed that the process might be good for mental health. Cultivating their own weed made 49% of this group feel confident, 48% felt joyful, 46% felt proud, and 44% felt that it connected them to the world around them. It's wonderful.
Wonderful.
Confidence, or lack thereof, may be heavily at play among those struggling with high levels of anxiety or depression. Having authentic pride has shown outcomes like creativity, authenticity, low aggression, and healthy relationships. Research also supports the notion that exposure to nature, like touching weed plants, improves cognitive function, brain activity, mental health, sleep, and more. A meta-analysis supports the idea that gardening benefits general health and well-being.
You always said that. Not even just gardening cannabis, but just gardening in general. Yeah. You've said that so many times.
Yes, totally.
You 100%. Like getting your hands
just
dirty.
Being out in nature in general. Go for a hike. Like in nature, not just walking down a busy side street. Like go where the trees are and where there's dirt under your feet and just walk or just sit and look up. It's great. The data on home growers also shows that at least half of this sample experienced some form of the benefits described in this research. Science appears to support getting your hands in super soil or alternative medium and learning how to grow on your own. So give it a try. Tune into the Grow Hour, Mr. Weedman's side project that he does with Big Earl, a Michigan caregiver grower, and they will teach you where to buy your seeds, how to shop your genetics, how to grow your weed, how to remediate pests, how to light and tune and aerate and breed and harvest and cure and all the thing, general pest control and hash making and all the things that you need to know about that plant. Get over to the Grow Hour. Yeah,
Big Earl is something special, boy. Yeah. He's brought a different avenue to me and to understanding the plant and the guests that we've had on the Grow Hour. We just launched episode 73 with our friend Stoney, and it is something special. I love that show because I learned so much, and I'm basically the newbie grower, even though I've been growing for a while, and I play the newbie grower. And I ask stupid, funny questions and play stupid on a lot of stuff. And it's kind of funny, but I've learned actually a lot I didn't know.
Yeah.
And Earl is magnificent. He is an amazing human being just in general. We love his wife. We're friends, the four of us. When they visit us once a month, we hang out for a little bit and he gets us baked on some of his fine flour. And but it is a special show that now is year 2, actually. This month is year 2. since we launched. And it's just, we do it twice a month, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, sometimes once. It just depends on, Earl's busy. He's got his own garden to attend to and his own patients to attend to. In Michigan, you're a caregiver, and he's got his plants and he breeds, and he also does his genetic testing too with deep roots, and he does his cultures, tissue cultures, and he can, if you have clones that you want saved or you have a plant you want saved, he can culture that plant for you and hold on to it like in a safe, in a vault. So
it's pretty magical.
Yeah, we've had some really, really good guests on that show, and there's some really good knowledge, not coming from me. Some of the best growers, breeders, just wonderful human beings that we've had on the show in the last 2 years, and they've taken their time out. They've given us their time. A lot of them are busy. They got to tend to their gardens, and they've come on the show and really, really upped our level of some of these breeders that have been breeding anywhere from, and growers that have been doing it for at least 10 to 25 years.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they're like, how, Mr. Weedman, did they get to 25 years of growing? Well, there's something called the traditional market. Because if it wasn't for the traditional market, none of us would be here right now. Right? So thank you, Mrs. Weedman. We love home growing. Even Mrs. Weedman grew some home grown. She tends to my plants when I'm out of town. It's good stuff. So big new study tracks cannabis replacing alcohol as a daily substance. I know alcohol is taking a beating. You want to know why? Because I've read about 6 different articles since Christmas to this week about wine being down lowest than it's ever been. Craft beer and beer in general is down. Not by a ton, but they're down.
They're down.
Bourbon that thought it was like untouchable.
Right.
Is taking a shitter. Brown-Forman is laying off 600 people, I think, at their facility in Louisville or in Kentucky, People are getting laid off in the industry. I see it on LinkedIn, and it's sad. Alcohol has been a part of this country for a very long time, but we kind of know why. You have another option now that you weren't allowed to have before. And in the 24 states that are legal, medical, and the 33 altogether, you have an option now. And then some of the studies that have been coming out on alcohol recently too, like I think they said you can get 7 different cancers if you drink 1 to 2 drinks a day. It leads to like 6 to 7 different cancers.
Or a high probability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 6 to 7 cancers.
That's a lot.
That's fucked up.
That's serious shit.
That is serious shit.
And I will say that I had family members who were excessive drinkers, and 3 of them died of cancer that was there, and 3 months later they were gone, or 2 months, or fast shit.
Yeah,
not good. And I truly believe it's the alcohol.
Yeah, you and I have never been heavy drinkers. We like our cocktails, we like our beer, but we don't drink every day. We don't drink all the time. We've tied a few on to a tree,
I usually have like a once a decade blur out. One night.
Yeah. Mine's always the day before the 4th of July. Once a year, I have my blackout. But, I've seen it in my life and in your life. We've seen what alcohol does to people. And I think that's always been, and I worked in the bar industry for a very long time too. And I still didn't drink like that, and I just couldn't. Alcohol, I have very low tolerance. I have a very, very low tolerance for alcohol. I'm the lightest of lightweights. I mean, I could do 3 beers and I have a very good buzz, and I pee like a racehorse. Or I can drink like 3 cocktails and I'm buzzed. And if I do a shot or 2 in there, good night. Yeah, I'm done.
You're rowdy.
Yeah, or I'm fucking doing laps, or I'm a Z-man. She's ready to pull my skin off. Will you calm the fuck down?
And then throw in some weed, and it's like, oh my god, somebody sit on him. Sit on him. Make him stop, please.
Oh shit! So in the U.S., regular cannabis use is on a path to replace regular alcohol use among every age group between 19 to 65. Just in time for Dry January, we're in Dry January right now, a massive, authoritative December 23rd study published in the Journal of Addiction found young adults, those under 30, have set aside regular alcohol use in favor of rolling one up instead. Gen X has matching cohorts of regular drinkers and smokers, and even retirees are relinquishing more and more scotch for the plant. Studying substance use trends in the U.S. About 10% of the country drank near daily in the mid-20th century. In the 1980s and 90s, drinkers far outnumbered weed smokers. But starting in 1996, voters approved 40 medical cannabis states and 24 adult use ones. Cannabis has become increasingly more accessible and popular. To better understand these trends, Megan Patrick, a researcher at the University of Michigan at Arbor, analyzed newly completed data from the Monitoring the Future panel study. Since 1976, the U.S. has asked around 20,000 people ages 19 to 65 about their use. The survey adds a fresh cohort of 12th graders each year and surveys them every 2 years until age 30, and then every 5 years until age 65. In 2023, the first complete data set for the first cohort became available. The data set is superb for comparing drug trends to different age groups over time. In total, the analysis done by Patrick included 389,649 responses from 1988 to 2023. I'd say that's
cool.
That's good data. That's like not 20
and that's
people.
Pre-legality.
Yes.
And then into legality. That's cool.
Young adults. Smokers now outnumber drinkers 3-1.
Wow.
After analyzing the data,
smokers or just consumers? Like
I think smokers.
It does say smokers.
It says smokers,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Patrick's findings paint a clear picture. Daily cannabis use is becoming more and more common. Just as daily alcohol use is declining. The shift is more obvious in younger generations. About 1 in 10 young adults regularly smoke weed. By contrast, just 1 in 30 regularly drink. That's a big number right there. In Patrick's analysis, someone was considered a daily or nearly daily user of cannabis or alcohol if they used the substance more than 20 times a month. That's a fair assessment, right? Mm-hmm. Back in the 80s, twice as many adults aged 19 to 30 drank nearly daily than smoked. Those rates even by 2010. Since 2011, cannabis has swiftly replaced daily alcohol use by 2023. Middle-aged adults, the cross-faded kids. Middle-aged adults followed similar trends, but they started with a much higher rate of daily or nearly daily alcohol use compared to cannabis. In 2008, almost 1 in 10 mid-adults drank daily or near daily.
1 in 10?
Yeah. By contrast, maybe 1 in 40 mid-adults now smoke daily. We're 1 in the 140, aren't we? But we're not this next age range, so we're not there yet. Adults 55 to 65, we're not there yet. We are Xers, Generation Xers. Time is on weed's side. The oldest group in the study of adults was 55 to 65. This continues to have higher levels of daily or near daily alcohol use, 11.4%. compared to daily or near daily cannabis use at 5.2%. But the fastest growing age group of getting into cannabis is 55 and up.
And up. Yeah.
So, but Patrick suggests if the trends continue, they may shift in the coming years. Younger adults already prefer cannabis to alcohol, and if trends hold, even seniors on the golf course will be using cannabis instead of a brewski. Ask Mr. Weedman, because I like when I golfed. Actually, I disc golf.
You gotta have a cold beer.
When I disc golf, I love bringing a couple cold beers with me, but I always have a joint.
Yeah.
And I don't most of the time. Most of the time, I drink the hoppy refresher now on the course instead of drinking beer, because it tastes like a beer but doesn't have all the carbs. So I bring those with me and always have a joint. It's great, man. When you hit hole like 7, where I hit my first hole in one, by the way, here in the town I live in. I smoked a joint before I did, and I might be the reason why I hit a hole in one.
You just got in the groove.
Maybe. Oh man.
Who was with you?
I was by my fucking self.
Oh, come on.
But there was
How
two.
is that
there
even
was
possible?
two guys
They
on
saw you.
hole
They saw it.
8, which is up on the hill.
Right.
And all of a sudden they saw it, and the guy had a marker, and he signed it for me, because you get somebody to sign. If they see it, they got to sign it for you. So yes, I have my hole in one disc, and I bring that. I still play with that. Like, you play? Yeah, fuck yeah, I play with that one, man. Hell yeah. And I play that fucking disc on hole 7 at 50 Acre Park. That's where I hit my first hole in one, and I've almost hit 4 more since. It's so bummer.
Wow.
If you play disc golf, it's amazing to smoke weed and have a great time out in the sun. And it's amazing. You know what I forgot to mention in our little talk earlier? Remember we were talking about goals on a couple episodes ago, and how I had my goal set, and one of my couple of goals one of my goals was to be in bed before midnight, have not look at my phone after midnight, and wake up at 7:45, 7:30, 7:45. Yeah. I fucked up. But here's the thing: why I'm bringing this up. I made it 2 weeks. I made it
Hardly.
2 weeks.
Hardly.
2 weeks. It was just 2 days
We
ago.
were
when
like
I fucked
running
it
into
up.
bed and like pulling covers up. All right, we're in bed.
I'm in.
like
It's 11:59. I'm in. It's 11:59. I'm in. And but we fucked up already. But here's the thing: why I don't feel bad. I still have a lot of other goals I haven't failed on, but that was my main goal for this year to do. And they say within the first 2 weeks, though, most people fuck up their New Year's resolution goals.
But then you don't just give up on it.
No, I try
You
every
just
night.
keep working on it,
I keep
right.
on working on it.
So you
yeah.
eventually
it's a goal.
get
It's
it.
a goal. What's a goal? Is
Yeah.
something attainable, something
Right.
to reach, something to get to. It's not something
You'll get
you
there.
don't always accomplish. It might take years to accomplish that goal.
Right.
So that means I'll be fucking up on going
We
to
are
bed
just
before bed.
not morning people.
We're fucking owls.
We are night owls. We always have been.
We're just owls.
I've been that way
What
since
kind
I
of
was a
owl
kid.
do you think you are? Do you think you're a barn owl?
Who?
Do you think you're a horned owl?
Who?
How'd that go? That was actually kind of like a really nice owl who.
I like those kind of like that snowy looking one. He's like white and then he has tan.
It's a barn owl.
Yeah. Do they have the little hornies too?
No, that's a great horn owl.
they're
That's
cute.
me. I like them.
I like the barn owl.
The barn owl's pretty
And
special.
It just swings around. They're pretty.
Just goes whoop like The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Whoop.
What you looking at?
This was a good article. It's the ancient wisdom of cannabis.
Yes.
And we're rediscovering it.
Yes.
Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
Our society is experiencing a historic moment as cannabis reclaims its place in wellness and culture after decades of prohibition. 8 decades, to be exact.
That's
Yet, if we zoom out to take a broader view of human history, we find that cannabis has been a part of human civilization for thousands of years. At Veda Warrior, their mission is to rediscover and celebrate the profound ancient knowledge of cannabis that was once widely known, but which was obscured, hidden, and systematically dismantled during the era of Prohibition, beginning in 1937. After 6 years of dedicated research, their journey has led them deep into the ancient roots of Ayurveda, the world's oldest system of medicine, dating back over 5,000 years to ancient India. Ayurveda uses a combination of herbs, diet, movement, and lifestyle tools to help an individual cultivate radiant health proactively and heal from a variety of diseases. Within the ancient texts of Ayurveda lies some of the most comprehensive and time-tested wisdom of over 700 different medicinal plants, including cannabis. Known as Vieha in Sanskrit, cannabis was known not only as a healer of the body, but also as a sacred medicine that addressed the mind and spirit. In its mystic representation, cannabis was seen as an enchantress, a plant capable of bridging the earthly and the divine, connecting humanity to the rhythms of nature and universal consciousness. It is also known to be a favorite of Shiva, one of the foremost spiritual deities in Hindu culture, and its virtues are extolled in folk songs, rituals, and prayers. Ayurveda offers a unique perspective on cannabis, viewing it as a sacred herb to be used thoughtfully in combination with other plants for holistic healing. Ancient texts such as the Atharva Veda, one of the 4 foundational sacred texts of ancient Indian philosophy, also known as the Vedas, as well as later texts such as the Charak Samhita and the Bhava Prakash Nigantu, contain over 300 written references to cannabis, detailing its use in addressing pain, stress, sleep, and even enhancing sexual vitality. These writings reveal a deep understanding of the plant's therapeutic potential, not as an isolated remedy, but as a part of a broader, harmonious system of healing. For centuries, this knowledge was practiced and refined, yet much of it was lost to time. With the rise of industrialized medicine and the prohibition of cannabis, humanity turned away from this holistic approach to healing. The result has been fragmented understanding of cannabis, often reducing to its most basic components and divorced from its historical context. At Veda Warrior, they believe that Ayurveda's time-tested knowledge of the cannabis plant, which is native to North India, holds immense untapped potential to transform modern wellness. Their Council of Science and Research, which consists of experts from diverse fields, including Eastern medicine practitioners, Western medicine physicians, pharmaceutical drug developers, and biochemists, have been on a mission to research this wisdom through the lens of modern science. Their aim has been to develop innovative cannabis solutions for our modern society that are rooted in traditional wisdom but optimized through best-in-class modern technology. Together, they are committed to bring an authentic, nuanced, science-backed approach to cannabis while honoring its sacred heritage. By anchoring the time-tested principles of Ayurveda into today's cannabis industry, they aim to restore cannabis's rightful place in health and healing and to educate consumers on how to consume mindfully. Cannabis is more than a trend. It's a legacy, a gift from nature that has long been a part of humanity's quest for balance and vitality. The rediscovery of its ancient story is a source of inspiration and an opportunity to reimagine wellness for today's world. Our goal is to ensure that as the cannabis industry evolves and meaningful cannabis research is conducted post-prohibition, the ancient history, anthropology, and heritage of cannabis are rediscovered, studied, and applied to shaping the future of the industry.
Love it.
Very good.
Yeah. What's the safest way to consume cannabis based on your genetics and science?
Ooh.
You like your flower.
I like my flower.
The safest way to consume cannabis for health according to science and genetics. Marijuana legalization continues to help thousands of people, most especially those who need marijuana to treat conditions in a safer, more natural, and more cost-effective manner compared to pricey, addictive, and dangerous pharmaceutical medications. That said, not all weed is made the same. Depending on where you get your weed, some of it may be grown using pesticides, which can be bad for your health, especially when smoked. So yes, it does matter what kind of weed you're smoking and where you got it from. Remember Mrs Weedman talked about home grow? That's the best source of weed you can get. Your home grow or your buddy's home grow. Or your friend of a friend's home grow. Or, yes.
Yes.
In addition to not all methods of consumption are also the same, many consumers, particularly extremely healthy, conscious individuals, prefer not to smoke weed. Smoking weed that's been grown with pesticides can also be dangerous for one's health, especially not recommended if you are immunocompromised. That's why a growing number of consumers prefer to explore the variety of consumption methods available these days, such as edibles, tinctures, beverages, and cannabis oil, to name a few. Now, the results of a new study has just been published suggesting that cannabis oil extracts may be the safest way to consume weed. Researchers studied MCT oils that contain high concentrations of CBD with some THC. Several studies have found damage to various chromosomal associated with cannabinoid use, said the researchers, considering numerous studies demonstrating the genotoxicity of cannabis. It's noteworthy that many of these investigations have focused on individuals who consume cannabis through smoking or in cigarette form, normally rich in THC, they said. The research specifically found that extracts of cannabis sativa don't exhibit genotoxic or mutagenic potential in doses that are commonly used by patients to manage anxiety, pain, epilepsy, and other conditions. Although the current literature on cannabis sativa extract remains inconsistent, most evidence suggests that these extracts are safe for cells and DNA under both acute and chronic experimental conditions, even at high doses. In studies involving both male and female animals, wrote the researchers. Some consumers were alarmed recently when studies, albeit weak in nature, were published, which suggested that cannabis smoke had the potential to be genotoxic. That said, it still isn't recommended for individuals who may be immunocompromised, but there is no strong evidence that cannabis can indeed cause genetic mutations. Since oral consumptions of cannabis oil bypass the respiratory system and allows patients a more accurate way to dose, it becomes the preferred method of consumption for many medical cannabis patients. Whether you're young or old, the safety profile of cannabis oil has been proven. This is especially true if you wish to avoid respiratory harm. The role of quality cannabis in health. As cannabis consumers, there are many ways you can ensure that medicating with clean, safe cannabis that's free for dangerous contaminants. Pesticides aren't the only contaminants to be aware of. Street cannabis sold by dealers can be laced with toxic additives and even fatal ingredients. There has been some notorious cases of tainted THC vapes containing vitamin E acetate. Other undesirable ingredients to take note of include residual solvents of heavy metals, the nickel coils. Oof. It's also your role as a consumer to do research about the quality of cannabis you buy. Of course, it makes sense to only buy from licensed cannabis dispensaries since they can easily supply laboratory-tested products. Make sure you ask for COAs if you're interested in what is being put in your cannabis because they have to list mycotoxins, toxins, and pesticides, and molds. From edibles to oils to flowers and more, licensed dispensaries can provide products of certificate of analysis, which can be either printed or packaging itself, accessing online or via a QR code. A cannabis product with COAs can give you the peace of mind that the product meets stringent testing and quality standards. Not in every case, as we're finding out. Colorado, they were still dealing with moldy weed from like 2023. Crazy. They were still finding it. Yeah, I just read about that. So. And we did talk about it too on a prior episode. So just know that all weed is always meets your states allow certain percentages of certain things in your cannabis. You want none of it. In addition, you can also seek out certified organic cannabis products. Of course, the fact that cannabis still isn't federally legal means there is nothing similar to the USDA organic certification for weed. Though some manufacturers make it easier for consumers these days to know if they're buying organic or not. For example, if you live in California, you can look for the Clean Green Certified or OCal weed that has been grown in standard that are comparable to organic. If you are older or having pre-existing medical conditions, the best way to medicate with marijuana is by taking cannabis oil orally. It's also extremely versatile since it can be used to treat an array of conditions ranging from nausea to chronic pain, headaches, muscle pain, and so much more. While it may have reduced bioavailability compared to smoking, cannabis oil extracts provide fairly quick relief for several conditions. Smoking weed in any form, whether by flower, vape oil, or concentrates, should be avoided or limited altogether if you have pre-existing medical conditions that does not allow you to smoke. There are also other potential consumption methods that are safer and more suitable for the immunocompromised, such as sprays, edibles, and topicals. It also helps be careful to consider the type of cannabinoids you are consuming. For patients that need to medicate during the daytime, CBD or high CBD products are always preferred. One must be careful with THC, especially if you're older, operate machinery, or have no previous experience with psychoactive cannabis or any other psychoactive drug out there. Always start with the lowest dose possible and work your way to the highest dose slowly. I always say this. Women will rule the world one day, right?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it'll happen.
Women, cannabis, and a call to action.
Yes.
Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
As we step into 2025, the intersection of women's rights and cannabis policy is at a pivotal juncture. Around the world, women are leveraging the cannabis movement to address long-standing health disparities and drive progress in both policy and culture. This year offers an opportunity for women to unite in unprecedented ways, tackling challenges and seizing opportunities in health, wellness, business, culture, and beyond. For too long, critical health issues like cancer, fibromyalgia, and menopause have been overlooked in research and clinical studies. Women are increasingly demanding more investment in these areas, using cannabis as a lens to advocate for greater autonomy over their health. This grassroots momentum is not just about cannabis, it's about equity. The fight for comprehensive women's health care is inseparable from broader calls for gender equality, and cannabis provides a unique platform to amplify these demands. The women's health movement is gaining traction, and 2025 could mark a turning point. With more female leaders expected to join the incoming administration, influence policy, and shape industries, the conversation is shifting. Political leaders are beginning to listen, responding to women's collective voices by directing resources to research and innovation in overlooked therapeutic areas. This progress is essential to creating a healthcare system that works for everyone. As the global cannabis market approaches the $1 trillion mark, women's contributions to this burgeoning industry cannot be overstated. From leading businesses to advocating for policy changes, women are reshaping the cannabis landscape. While women held a greater share of C-suite roles when the first recreational cannabis markets came online a decade ago, there has been a sharp decline in female representation in these positions. However, 2025 signals a reversal of that trend. Yay! Gender parity in leadership positions is within reach thanks to a renewed focus on equity and representation. This progress isn't just about leadership, though. It's about aligning the industry's values with its mission. As caregivers and nurturers, women bring a natural affinity for cannabis's potential in health and wellness. As women take top positions at cannabis companies, they ensure that the industry remains centered on its core purpose, improving lives through innovation and care. The cultural impact of cannabis continues to expand, particularly in the realms of sports and culinary arts. Athletes are leading conversations around cannabis as a wellness option, challenging outdated stigmas and outright bans while advocating for its acceptance in pain management and recovery. Similarly, the culinary world is embracing cannabis as a versatile ingredient, blending therapeutic benefits with culinary creativity. This cultural momentum will be on full display at the 2025 Women Grow Leadership Summit. Renowned cannabis chefs, including Equinox founder Ellen Kassoff, will explore how cannabis is reshaping the dining experience, while sports icon Brittany Griner will share her powerful story of resilience and advocacy. These conversations demonstrate the far-reaching influence of cannabis, extending beyond health and wellness into every facet of modern life. In a year where both women's rights and cannabis legalization face renewed challenges, the need for unity has never been greater. The Women Grow Leadership Summit in February 2025 will serve as a rallying point, uniting women across industries to advocate for progress. From policy reform to entrepreneurial ventures, the summit will empower attendees to take action, fostering a global movement rooted in resilience and innovation. For women in cannabis alike, the driving forces of growth and resilience, 2025 is the year to lead. Just as the female cannabis plant holds the power to transform, women can unite at the heart of America's political power to confront shared challenges, turning voices into meaningful action and cultivating lasting change. Whether you're a seasoned advocate or a curious newcomer, there's a place for you in this movement. Let's make 2025 the year we redefine what's possible for women and cannabis.
Hell yeah. And I'm going to say this. I've been doing this for a little bit now, right, Ms. Weedman?
Yeah.
I've met a lot of people in the industry. I have gotten to know a lot of people in this industry. Across the country, I've met people in this industry and worked with people in this industry. Illinois is my home state. I've watched this state come from medical to where we're at today. And in the last since weed went recreational in 2020, in the last 5 years, I've met some phenomenal women from the tippy top of ownership to a bud tender. And I've watched bud tenders, women, work their way up into general managers of dispensaries. I've worked their way up in cultivation to management, head of operations, head of cultivation, head of kitchens, presidential roles, CEO roles, COO roles, and buyers,
HR, a lot of HR,
a lot of HR, procurement. Buying for dispensaries. And I'm going to say this, men, get your fucking shit together. I am 100% serious on that.
The women are crushing it.
Get your fucking shit online. Because the women are fucking going to rule the world one day and you're going to get left fucking behind. And I'm fucking been married 30 years. I'm married to a very strong woman. I'm married to a woman that has got a good work ethic, that raised 2 kids and has to deal with a jackass like me. So I've met so many strong women in this cannabis industry, but also I came from the beer industry too, and I've met hundreds of strong women in the beer industry. And I tell you what, men, one more time before we move on, get your fucking shit together.
That's a suggestion of unity.
This is
right?
suggesting fucking get your shit together.
Together we can move forward.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
Multitasking, organized, click here to the point, take no shit. Fuck you, I'll move on.
Women are efficient.
We are. I trust me, I know.
Very capable multitaskers.
Mm-hmm. So.
And efficient at that. Can't guarantee we're all organized.
In your own way.
In our own way.
There you go. So, political state and business news. Campaign cash and hemp regulation showdown is a bad sign about pay to play in Illinois. Illinois is all about pay to play.
I'm cold.
You cold? Illinois is all about pay to play. I came from the beer industry. I've worked in the bar, restaurant, and nightclub industry for 23 years. Illinois is a pay to play state. Mm-hmm. No matter what anybody says, there's laws saying no pay to play. Okay. An editorial highlights concerns about pay to play politics in Illinois, focusing on how donations potentially influence decisions on hemp regulation. Political figures block legislation to regulate synthetic hemp products like Delta 8 THC, which poses health risks to children. After receiving donations from interest groups, both hemp and cannabis industries have made contributions raising concerns at the influence of money on policymaking. Governor Pritzker criticized special interests while others defended the donations as minor. The editorial calls for stricter campaign finance rules. PharmaCann cannabis cultivation workers vote to unionize in Illinois. Cannabis workers at the PharmaCann cultivation facility in Dwight, Illinois, have voted to overwhelmingly to join Teamsters Local 777, where they already represent 100 PharmaCann Teamsters throughout the Illinois, and Jim Glemko, president of Local 77. We look forward to getting these workers a great union contract, just like we've already done for PharmaCann retail workers throughout the state. Bipartisan Kentucky lawmakers push Congress to protect medical marijuana patients and gun rights. Bipartisan Kentucky lawmakers are urging Congress to arm federal law to allow medical marijuana patients to purchase and possess firearms. Currently, under the Gun Control Act of 1968, cannabis users are prohibited from owning guns, creating a conflict as Kentucky prepares to launch its medical marijuana program. The resolutions emphasize that the need to reconcile gun rights and access to medical cannabis, highlighting the citizens should have to choose between essential medical care and Second Amendment rights. Kentucky joins other states facing this issue. Also in Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville firefighters file lawsuit against Metro government for the right to use medical marijuana. NRA says federal ban on marijuana amid state-level legalization has created a confusing legal landscape for gun owners. The NRA highlights the confusion caused by federal laws banning marijuana users from owning guns despite state-level cannabis legalization. The organization points out that the federal and state law contradicts each other, especially regarding medical and recreational cannabis users. Recent court rulings have questioned the constitutionality of the firearms ban, leading to legal uncertainty. The NRA advocates for clear laws that respect both Second Amendment rights and the U.S. Constitution standards. Iowa GOP leaders oppose legalizing pot to fill shortfalls from tax cuts. We'll just keep on taking your patients here in Illinois and Missouri. Thanks, Iowa. We'll keep on taking that couple bazillion dollars you keep on spending here on tax, and great. Just keep on, just like Wisconsin, just like Indiana. We'll keep on taking all your money. It's just we did $400 million in tax revenue, and every month I'm looking at out-of-state sales, $35 million, $45 million, $30 million here. Man. Iowa GOP lawmakers are likely against legalizing cannabis this session. A former state official predicts they may eventually rely on cannabis taxes to offset revenue losses in recent tax cuts. Iowa revenue is expected to decline by $1 billion over 2 years due to tax cuts. And some officials see cannabis legalization as a potential new tax, sin tax. They call it a sin tax. S-I-N tax. Neighboring states like Missouri and Illinois are benefiting from Iowa residents buying cannabis across state lines, adding pressure for reform. Stop using cannabis as your cash cow. All you states out there. You don't deserve it anyway. Illinois making $400 million on off of our backs of we spending that money is total horse doogie. Nevada legal cannabis sales keep dropping, and they're blaming the illicit market. Nevada's legal cannabis sales dropped significantly, with $829 million recorded in 2023, down from $1 billion in 2021. The decline is partially attributed to competition from the illicit market, which accounts for 25 to 33% of total cannabis sales in the state. High taxes on legal cannabis drive some consumers to the black market. It's your fault using cannabis as your cash cow, where products are cheaper but riskier. Industry leaders suggest more enforcement and public awareness campaigns to address the problem. New Hampshire, House Majority Leader says state won't legalize marijuana for another decade probably. What? are you talking about? Oh my goodness. New Hampshire House Majority Leader Jason Osborne said that marijuana legalization in the state likely won't happen for another decade, citing missed opportunities and lack of priority under Governor Kelly Ayotte, who opposes adult use legalization. Boo. Top GOP Wisconsin senator says their support for medical marijuana legalization, but state-run dispensary models is a red line. Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu expressed support for legalizing medical marijuana, but opposed the state-run dispensary model proposed by Assembly GOP leaders. Thank you. He prefers a model where medical cannabis is prescribed by doctors and distributed through pharmacies. Nope. Ensuring it doesn't become a backdoor to recreational legalization. Governor Tony Evers has also called for reform, advocating citizen-led ballot initiatives to push legalization as prior legislative efforts have stalled due to GOP opposition. Arkansas GOP governor announces plan to use medical marijuana money to fund free breakfast and free lunch for students. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I can get with that program. Not going to police funds and not going to shit people pocketbooks and stuff, you know. Resolution to Alabama's stalled medical marijuana rollout could occur in the next few weeks. Finally, Alabama, finally. We'll roll out that roll tide, which has faced significant challenges since 2021. Remember, we've been talking about this for a very, very long time. It's being closely monitored, and key decisions are expected soon to speed up the process. The state hopes to finalize licensing for dispensaries and production facilities soon. Making medical cannabis available for patients who have been waiting for the program to begin. You think? Colorado Springs leaders may try recreational pot measures again, claiming voters who approved it were confused. They went to the ballot and they were confused what they were voting on. After voters approved recreational marijuana sales in Colorado Springs in November, city leaders are considering a revote in April, citing confusing language in the measure. While some council members argue that the vote may have misled citizens, others assert that the original approval reflected the clear will of the voters. Supporters of the measure emphasized the potential benefits, including job creation and revenue. However, opposition persists with concerns about the effects on children and increased... Oh, my God. You have had cannabis legalized in your state since 2012, right? I think 2012. And Colorado Springs is not recreational. Medical, but not rec. Because they're afraid of the effect... It's you need to listen to our show. Because we've talked about this and how it's decreased in use in children and young adults, and there is no increase in crime.
Right.
Colorado Springs, go to the Garden of the Gods and fix yourself, will you? Pray on one of those big
Go
mountains.
meditate on it.
Yeah, something. Jeez.
Smoke a joint. I'm really baked. I just have to tell you.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Feel great.
Nebraska medical marijuana legalization lawsuit now includes more state officials. A former Nebraska state senator has added a half dozen state officials to the lawsuit seeking the undue voter-approved medical marijuana legalization. Nebraskans, if your officials do this to you, vote them out. Get them out of there. 71% of you voted for it. That means your vote does not count, which a lot of people believe in, that our votes don't fucking matter anymore. Your vote mattered. You voted yes. Here's something crazy, Mrs. Weedman.
Tell me.
Florida Recreational Pot Amendment Group to try again in 2026. Every 2 years they try.
Hey, good.
Gotta get that 60%.
Yeah.
Smart and Safe Florida.
They only need a few more people.
A few more. 2 tree. Smart and Safe Florida is pursuing a constitutional amendment to allow adult recreational marijuana use for 2026, according to Florida's amendment database. New York City's first Tier 1 cannabis facility opening in the Bronx this spring.
Hey.
Yay! And I was excited about this because the newspaper this was in is called the Bronx Times. It used to be called the Bronx Times Reporter, now it's called the Bronx Times. And I used to deliver that paper.
Oh, cute.
I had a paper out.
On your block?
For 2 years. Not on my block, the whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went all
like
over
a mile.
on my bike.
You probably...
No.
No, all over?
I had like a very big route. Like I probably rode about 4 or 5 miles.
Wow.
Yeah,
good.
I had a big ride. I had a full paper out. It was 4 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, and
you had to get up early.
No, it was an evening paper after school, after
really?
practice. Yeah, I was able to do it from
Evening
4 to 6.
news.
It was
What's happening
It was
in the
amazing
Bronx?
because it wasn't the New York Post.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of the big. It was a local paper.
Yeah.
That was just starting out, and the owner let me keep all the monany. It was a quarter.
Oh my gosh.
And he let me keep the money. He goes, I just want my paper out there. They're still going today. This is 1983,
Wow.
82,
That's so cool.
83, 84. Yeah,
Huh.
before I moved to Florida.
That's cool.
So I have to give homage to my first, it was my
Yeah.
first job.
That's
I
cool.
was my first real like paying job. Like I worked with my dad sometimes, but I was 11, 12, 13.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was my first job. So Bronx Times Reporter it was called. Now it's called the Bronx Times. But anyway, they talk about how a Bronx-based company is opening the first Tier 1 cannabis processing business in New York City in the coming months, which is allowed to process, extract, blend, manufacture, package, and distribute cannabis products to licensed dispensaries. Thanks, Bronx Times Reporter, for bringing back an old memory for the old man here. FDA seeks veterinarians' input on use of CBD and other cannabis products in animals. The FDA is seeking input from veterinarians and the public on the use of CBD and other cannabis-derived products in animals. The agency aims to understand usage trends and safety concerns, drug interactions, and other issues related to CBD products, which have gained popularity post-legalization. While no CBD animal products are FDA approved, some veterinarians may prescribe human-approved drugs like Epidiolex or for animal use. The comment period ends April 16th. Maine Governor Mills wanted to raise cannabis taxes from 10 to 14%. Oh, my God. Anyway, state officials continue treating cannabis businesses as a piggy bank in 2025. It's here. This is like all correlating, right? Raise taxes, take it from cannabis people, just like they did with cigarettes. They raised cigarettes so high that you're paying like $22.50 here in Chicago for a pack of cigarettes now. You know,
How is that even possible? It's just all the taxes, right?
Yeah,
Most of it.
probably about 80% of it.
Wow.
A pack of cigarettes when we were growing up as a kid was $1.
It was like $1.10 here.
Yeah, Mom would say, "Here's $1. Go to the store
Yeah.
down the street and get me
With
a
a
pack."
note.
Cool. Give me no. I didn't need a note. The guy knew us. We were in that store all the time. He knew I wasn't smoking them. I mean, who knew?
Yeah, you were.
know. But $1. Cool.
Wow.
100's my mom's ma weeds. Ma 420 smoked.
Crazy.
But they're using this as a piggy bank in 2025. They see the benefit. Look at what Illinois is doing. Look what all these states are doing. So they're going to keep on increasing, and it's going to force us to go back to the black market. Now, I don't go to the black market. I grow my own, or I have traditional market guys. But there's some people that can't get good weed from a
Right.
traditional market grower or a farmer's market, like, you know, the underground farmer's market we go to. There's not around. So they're going to go back to getting shit that's just garbage. Dried up, crusty, old, moldy weed. And they're going to get them sick after a while. So this is the state's, this is not your piggy bank. If you can't keep a regular budget, and if you're lowering taxes down and you're taking away a tax, like say no state income tax,
Yeah.
okay, because then some of that money is going to go use the taxes through cannabis, and it's going to, fine. Or you're going to lower your sales tax down on other things to a set tax, a flat tax.
Right.
Because cannabis money is good. It's clean. It's bringing in good tax dollars and revenue for your state. But you have to give a little to stop taking so much from us. We fought for this, not for you to use this. Give us what we need, and then you could take a little bit more. And they're not doing it. Just my thought. California, Maryland, Maine, and Mississippi are entering cannabis excise tax heists this year that could put licensed businesses in jeopardy. State officials are continuing to treat cannabis business as a source of revenue through excise taxes, even as the industry faces financial pressure. Cannabis operators argue that these heist taxes are unsustainable and hinder business growth. While state government continue to depend on the tax income to fund various programs, industry leaders are calling for tax reforms to make the sector viable. While the debate over balancing taxation with business survival intensifies in 2025. Massachusetts marijuana officials say social consumption plan will position state as East Coast industry leader. They're going to be doing consumption lounges in Massachusetts. Also in Massachusetts, though, adult use cannabis sales hit a revenue record of $1.6 billion generated over 2024. Indiana's Republican governor is amenable to medical marijuana legalization, even as top GOP lawmakers oppose it. Indiana's Republican Governor Mike Braun is open to legalizing medical marijuana despite oppositions from key GOP lawmakers. Braun expressed support for the therapeutic cannabis but remains skeptical of recreational marijuana. It's a start. It's always a start, right? While a significant majority of Indiana residents back legalization, lawmakers like Senate President Roderick Bray and House Speaker Todd Hudson oppose the move, citing concerns over mental health and addictive substance. Wrong. Several marijuana reform bills are under consideration for the upcoming year, including proposals for medical use and decriminalization. I think it was something like 68 to 71% in Indiana approve of medical marijuana. If these people that you're putting in the office are not listening to what you want, vote them out.
Right.
Get them out of there.
Is there a way that I'm sure that there are people out there challenging taxes, but how do they justify? Well, that's like a whole discussion. I wonder how they like justify, like how do they justify that they can charge the tax that they charge?
Because they
and
think,
how come we can't dispute that? And
there's some people that can. I mean, business owners are all the time.
yeah,
They're always fighting it. You know,
but not always.
No,
it's
don't
very hard to succeed.
Yeah,
right.
But the way to do it is, if you don't like what your officials are doing, get them out. Change it.
Yeah.
Change it. Every 2 to 4 years, you got chances to make change. If you're calling
Not
up,
that easy.
you can call that office and say, "Listen, I got 10,000 voters here in my little area that if you don't fix your shit, we're going to vote against you." That's a lot of voters,
Right?
in a small state for a state local council and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. South Carolina medical cannabis legalization back on the legislative table for 2025. Let's go.
Well,
South
good.
Carolina Senate Bill 53, reintroduced by Senator Tom Davis, aims to establish a regular legal medical cannabis market. It would permit products like edibles and vaporized oils, but excludes smoking and home cultivation. Boo! Boo!
So
Boo!
So dumb.
While previous attempts failed, the bill gaining momentum with the focus on treating chronic conditions. It also proposes licensing dispensaries and limiting cultivation centers. Due to the legalization is progressing, it remains subject to local municipalities' approval, with some provisions designed to allow revelations after 5 years. Your bread's done. I just heard the bell go off.
That's good, Mr. Weedman.
Business federal OSHA officials spotlight marijuana and hemp industry workers' risk from allergens. Federal OSHA officials are focusing on the risk of allergens in the marijuana and hemp industries, highlighted dangers like mold spores and bioaerosols that can lead to respiratory issues. The initiative includes free inspections for cannabis processing and cultivation facilities, aiming to reduce workplace hazards. While the program targets production environments, retail businesses aren't covered. Researchers are investigating allergens at cultivation sites, noting that the mold and plant material can create harmful bioaerosols, but there's limited peer-reviewed data on the issue. That's the political state and business news, everybody. World's largest tobacco company continues silent entry into cannabis.
We talked about this topic
here and there
when we really early in our recording together.
Oh yeah.
That of course, there's always the threat that big cannabis is going to come and play. And they're going to, and they're going to mass produce and they're going to just butcher cannabis.
They're going to destroy the plant.
Well, they're already getting in there. So,
what company?
Philip Morris. So, are they a medical marijuana supporter? Would we consider them that? Philip Morris International, acronym is PMI, so I'm going to refer to them as PMI. The largest tobacco company in the world by market cap is further extending its reach into cannabis through its subsidiary Vectura Fertin Pharma, VFP. In a press release that went mostly unnoticed, the company announced this week a collaboration with Avicanna, a Canadian biopharmaceutical firm specializing in cannabinoid-based medicine. This partnership aims to advance medical cannabis research and improve accessibility in Canada. By leveraging Avicanna's expertise and its online platform, PMI continues its measured pivot toward health and wellness. The collaboration between PMI's Vectura Fertin Pharma and Avicanna signals a continuation of their calculated strategy in the cannabis sector, particularly its focus on medical applications over recreational cannabis. PMI's deliberate focus on medical cannabis aligns with its broader strategy of research-driven innovation. PMI is also positioning itself for a long-term shift in consumer preferences. Aaron Gray, managing director at Alliance Global Partners, an investment firm, explains, "I think this is a multi-decade strategy. Usage trends among young adults are shifting. They're moving away from tobacco and alcohol and toward cannabis. Big Tobacco sees this and wants to capture that new growing consumer base, and cannabis is part of that vision. This isn't just about hedging, it's about preparing for a long-term consumer shift." Dan Aarons, managing director of Advisor Shares, highlights PMI's cautious approach. Big Tobacco has made numerous investments and joint ventures into the cannabis space, especially in Canada, but we've always felt that they are holding off on large additional investments until they can do so in the U.S. markets following federal reforms. PMI's approach to cannabis differs from competitors like Altria and British American Tobacco, or BAT, which have taken more consumer-oriented paths. Altria made a $1.8 billion investment in Kronos Group, while BAT formed a research and development partnership with Organogram in 2023. By centering its efforts on Canada's well-regulated cannabis market, PMI not only gained a strategic testing ground, but also positions itself to gather insights into patient-focused care and market dynamics, he adds. When Canada first legalized cannabis, we saw companies like Altria, Constellation Brands, and Molson Coors make significant investments or form joint ventures with cannabis firms. Many of those early moves didn't pan out as expected, but recently we've seen more targeted investments like BAT's partnership with Organogram. Is Avicana, I keep saying it differently, Avicana, a key player in PMI's long-term game plan? Their collaboration adds to Avicana's history of notable partnerships. In 2023, the company took over the Shoppers Drug Mart's medical cannabis platform, integrating it into its online ecosystem, which provides pharmacist-led support and curated medical cannabis products. Avicana also operated out of Johnson & Johnson's J-Labs incubator for years, where it focused on cannabinoid-based research and development. Additionally, its partnership with Dabon, one of the world's largest organic agribusinesses, strengthens its supply chain with sustainably cultivated cannabinoids. Avicana's selection by PMI, despite its smaller market cap compared to other cannabis companies have received investments from tobacco giants, highlights its distinct focus on medical cannabis. The company has prioritized research and development and clinical studies over consumer-driven recreational markets since its inception. It has also maintained long-term commitments to advancing cannabinoid-based therapeutics and developing evidence-based solutions for patients. Other companies in the cannabis space have also invested heavily in medical cannabis, like GW Pharmaceuticals, now part of Jazz Pharmaceuticals. They developed Epidiolex, the first FDA-approved cannabis-derived drug for epilepsy. Tilray has pursued research partnerships with institutions like NYU and the University of Sydney to explore cannabis treatments for anxiety and chemotherapy-induced nausea, among other conditions. While these companies excel in targeted therapeutic areas, Avicana's research spans multiple conditions, including epilepsy, dermatological disorders, and pain management through collaborations with institutions like the University Health Network and Sick Kids Hospital in Canada. Although companies such as Canopy Growth and Kronos Group have developed consumer-facing products, including recreational cannabis, both have also made notable advancements in medical cannabis and research and development. However, Avicana differentiates itself with its integrated approach to patient care and its broad focus on clinical development. This unique combination positions Avicana as a specialized partner for advancing cannabinoid-based therapeutics across diverse medical applications. Some analysts view the collaboration as potential precursor to an acquisition. While Canada provides a stable testing ground, Aarons believes PMI's ambitions will eventually extend to the United States. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, they'll spend a lot of money in research and development,
Yeah.
But what they use that research and development for is, eventually going to be
is going to probably to make synthetic or very clouded. They'll process. They'll process cannabis to mass produce it and ruin it just like they did tobacco. Mm-hmm. Chemicals.
Yes.
Chemicals.
Yes. Lots of, what are those called? FSCs and shit they put in tobacco nowadays and tobacco products, and I don't know.
Yeah, and just all the additives they throw in there just to make it more addictive.
Yes.
And to be more toxic for your body.
All right, everybody. Right now is your time to take a quick hit of your bong, your joint, or your dab break, because I'm going to hit my joint.
Yummy. I didn't really need to smoke more, but
Big Girl's a phenomenal grower.
Thanks, Earl.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's bringing this Sunday. Oh, so excited. We'll be smoking on the next couple shows. International news. Hundreds of UK families are forced to turn to illicit cannabis market due to lack of NHS access. A report from Business of Cannabis reveals that hundreds of UK families are turning to the illicit cannabis market to obtain products for their children due to limited access through the National Health Services. The situation highlights the challenges in providing adequate medical cannabis accesses within the UK healthcare system. How cannabis is helping downtown Eastside residents get off hard drugs. Cannabis is playing a significant role helping residents of Vancouver's downtown East Side overcome addictions to hard drugs like opioids. The Cannabis Substitution Project, which offers cannabis as a substitute, has supported many individuals in reducing or quitting substances like heroin and meth. Despite legal challenges and police raids, the CSP continues to work, helping people improve their lives. Studies show that the cannabis can reduce the use of opioids, promoting healing and better overall health for those in the community. Cannabis industry secures much-needed funding boosts. Barbados medicinal cannabis industry has received a boost through a partnership between the Barbados Medical Cannabis Licensing Authority, the BMCLA, and Trust Loans Fund. The aims to address financial barriers hindering businesses by offering loans to license holders struggling with the startup capital. Many cannabis businesses face banking challenges due to international restrictions, making access to funding difficult. The collaboration is expected to ease these challenges, encouraging more growth in the sector. The industry also benefits from digital banking platforms like M-Money to manage transactions securely. Thai cannabis shop data. Thailand's cannabis retail market is concentrated in urban and tourist-heavy areas. Bangkok leads with 19% of all dispensaries, followed by major tourist cities like Pattaya and Phuket and Surat Thani, which account is 22.7%. The market shows an urban-rural divide, with the top 5 cities controlling 48% of the dispensaries. The structure follows population, tourism, and economic activity with major hubs. 1,000 shops, tourist destinations 500 to 1,000 shops, and regional hubs 500 shops. That's a lot of stuff going on in Thailand, and that president that got elected was going to shut it all down, the recreational. Not much income, and I think he finally saw
the numbers.
I mean, come on, that's the only thing that can he changed.
They spoke for themselves.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people you're putting out of work in your country. There'd be a lot of pissed off people.
Yeah,
there's a lot of money going around. That's that's shops alone. That's not talking about all the cultivation. That's not talking about all the people that do all the other stuff for the industry.
Right.
You would have probably got rid of maybe close to maybe 100,000 jobs, maybe more. Who knows?
It is going to also increase their tourism because people will travel there because of it being legal.
Yeah.
From surrounding countries, even not even just from U.S. travel.
Yeah.
Right.
You
It's
ain't
good
lying.
for the country.
Yeah.
It's good for the economy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah. One of our more favorite journalists that we get to read a lot about, Reginald Reefer, talks about what is psychoactive listening, the study of cannabis and music.
Yes.
Tell us about it, Mrs Weedman.
I'll never forget the first time I truly heard Pink Floyd's Time.
What was your Pink Floyd song, Mrs Weedman?
Money.
That was the song you listened to?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but what was the
Coins?
The Coins. What was the song that you played for your mom and with all of her friends?
Oh, Another Brick in the Wall.
That's it.
Fuck yeah. I bought that 45 off of a kid at school. I'm like, I'm bringing you money tomorrow. I want that. And then I brought it home, and my mom had her girlfriends over on Friday night to play bridge, and it was a very sophisticated gathering. And I'm like, Mom, I bought this for my friend. Listen on my little play school record player. I don't even think it could play a full-size album. And I put my little 45 on there, and it's...
We don't need no education.
My mom was just like, Susan, turn that off. Oh my gosh. And the ladies were all like, oh, she has a rebel on her hands. Fuck yeah. Oh, Joan has her hands full there.
Oh, it's so good.
It was cute.
So
all right,
good.
moving on. Sure. I'd listened to it a dozen times before, but this was different. I had just taken a few hits from a joint when those haunting clock chimes began. As the song progressed, I found myself noticing things I'd somehow missed in all of my previous listens. The intricate layers of percussion, the subtle interplay between the guitars, the way the bass line weaved through it all like a musical serpent. It wasn't just hearing the music, it was experiencing it on a completely different level. Ask any cannabis enthusiast about their relationship with music while high, and you'll likely get a knowing smile followed by something along the lines of, everything just sounds better. It's not just about the enhanced audio perception. There's a profound sense of immersion that transforms familiar songs into entirely new experiences. The music doesn't just play, it envelopes you, pulls you in, and takes you on a journey through every note and rhythm. For decades, this phenomenon had been widely acknowledged in cannabis culture, passed down through shared experiences and countless smoke sessions. However, the scientific community has largely overlooked this fascinating relationship between cannabis and musical perception. The lack of formal research has left us with plenty of anecdotal evidence, but few concrete answers about what's actually happening in our brains when we combine the two. Thankfully, that's changing. A groundbreaking new study is examining how cannabis affects our enjoyment and perception of music in real-world settings. Rather than relying on sterile laboratory conditions, researchers are meeting cannabis users where they naturally consume, in social settings where music is an integral part of the experience. So, pack a bowl, cue up your favorite stoner playlist, and join me as we explore the science behind what I like to call psychoactive listening. It's time to understand why that bass line hits different when you're high, and what that might mean for our understanding of consciousness, perception, and the therapeutic potential of cannabis. Yeah, I couldn't even say that word if I tried. Psychoactive listening isn't just about hearing music while high. It's about how cannabis fundamentally alters our relationship with sound. When researchers at Toronto Metropolitan University's Smart Lab began exploring this phenomenon, they were investigating something cannabis users have known intuitively for generations. Marijuana doesn't just make music sound better, it transforms how we process and experience it entirely. The study, currently underway at Club Lit, a cannabis consumption lounge in Toronto, takes a refreshingly practical approach to research. Instead of isolating participants in sterile laboratory conditions, researchers chose to meet cannabis users in their natural habitat. One researcher explains, background music is always going to be a common part of most social experiences. What we're really interested in is pairing cannabis with these specific music experiences. This real-world approach might seem unconventional, but it's precisely what makes the study so valuable. Having a sterile environment is the ultimate confound, because there's really such little stimulation happening, and it's so far removed from the real world. By studying cannabis users in their natural environment, researchers can observe authentic interactions between marijuana, music, and social dynamics. The methodology is simple. Patrons at Club Lit can scan a QR code at their table and access surveys about their musical experience while under the influence. The playlists rotate through various genres, from jazz to electronic, rock to reggae, allowing researchers to track how cannabis might influence musical preferences and openness to new styles. But this isn't just about understanding why your favorite album hits differently when you're high. The implications of this research stretch far beyond recreational cannabis use. The team is particularly interested in how their findings might shed light on conditions like musical anhedonia, a condition where individuals cannot derive pleasure from music. That's so sad.
So sad.
Oh, gosh. That's like being blind. Like, I always feel just so sad for people who are blind, because you don't get to see the beauty of the world. Okay, nature especially. The research could also provide insights into broader aspects of consciousness, sensory processing, and neurodivergent listening patterns. Researchers noted there could be a really fascinating intersection that no one has even considered yet. We are really just at the start of this journey, and we hope that there will be some really significant therapeutic opportunities that we can leverage. Previous findings from the SMART Lab have already revealed intriguing patterns. Cannabis users reported changes in their cognitive processing, including altered attentiveness, absorption, interpretation of lyrics, memory, and critical analysis. Perhaps most interestingly, many participants described an increased openness to new musical experiences while under the influence. Looking ahead, this field of research could revolutionize our understanding of how psychoactive substances affect sensory processing and emotional responses to art. It might also lead to new therapeutic applications, potentially helping individuals with various forms of anhedonia or sensory processing disorders. For now, the researchers continue gathering data, aiming to involve 1,000 participants in their study. As we await their findings, one thing is clear. What many of us have experienced anecdotally, that special relationship between cannabis and music is finally getting the scientific attention it deserves. As someone who's spent countless hours both making and listening to music while under the influence of cannabis, writes the author, I have developed my own theories about why weed seems to enhance our musical experience. Sure, it's not peer-reviewed science, but after decades of first-hand research, I think I've stumbled upon something interesting and some insights that are worth sharing. At its most basic level, I believe cannabis fundamentally alters our baseline consciousness. Now, before you roll your eyes at what sounds like typical stoner philosophy, hear me out. When we're sober, our brain processes reality through a particular filter, one that's been fine-tuned through years of evolution to help us survive. This filter prioritizes certain information while downplaying others, helping us navigate our daily lives efficiently. But throw some THC into the mix, and something fascinating happens. That default filter shifts ever so slightly, creating what I like to call a perspective drift. The external world hasn't changed. The same sound waves are still hitting your eardrums, but the way your brain processes and interprets this information has been altered. Think of it like this. Imagine you've lived in the same house for years. You know every corner, every creak in the floorboards. Then one day, you look at your living room from a different angle, maybe lying upside down on your couch, and suddenly you notice details you've never seen before. The room hasn't changed, but your perspective has, revealing aspects that were always there, but previously filtered out of your brain's autopilot mode. I believe something similar happens with music when you're high. Cannabis temporarily disrupts your brain's usual filtering system, allowing you to experience familiar songs as if you're hearing them for the first time from this slightly shifted perspective. Suddenly, that bass line that was always there but never caught your attention becomes impossible to ignore. The subtle harmonies in the background, vocals, jump to the forefront. The intricate patterns in the drums that reveal themselves like hidden treasures. Of course, this is all just educated stoner thinking, based on my personal experiences. There could be, and likely are, complex neurochemical processes at play that explain why cannabis affects our audio processing in such unique ways. Without more scientific research, though, we can only speculate. But that's part of what makes this field so exciting. We're finally starting to bridge the gap between anecdotal experiences and scientific understanding. The research being done at Club Lit might validate some of these stoner theories or reveal entirely new mechanisms we haven't even considered. Until then, let's just keep exploring sonic landscapes through a slightly altered consciousness and stay confident that while you might not fully understand why behind this cannabis-enhanced music appreciation, the experience itself is undeniably real. The next time someone gives you grief about smoking up and listening to Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon for the 1,000th time, you can proudly inform them that you're engaging in psychoactive listening. You're not just getting high, you're conducting a personal exploration into altered states of musical perception. Yes, it's possible. It is possible, though, that research will find that we're all just really high, so everything sounds amazing. Maybe it's just that simple. But either way, science is finally starting to validate what cannabis users have been saying all along. So pack that bowl, put on your favorite album, and get into some serious psychoactive listening. After all, it's not just recreation anymore. It's research.
It is. It is. That was a good art. I like Reginald Weaver.
Yeah.
He's a good writer.
It was poetic.
Yep. Yes, very good. Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah.
Man, that went fast.
It did.
It is.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, you got anything else to say before we go?
Stay warm. Be safe. Don't get sick. There's so many bugs going around. Wash your hands. Don't share joints. It's just not the time of year to share. Sharing joints, it's great. Save it for
spring,
not flu season.
Yeah, not flu season. Yeah. So hopefully everybody out there in California is doing all right. Hopefully everybody in North Carolina and Florida are doing all right with the snow. Florida getting snow. It's crazy out there. And hopefully you're staying safe, you're staying warm, and you're being protected out there. We love you. Thank you for listening, everybody out there. We appreciate you all. Episode 240. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you again, everybody. We love you. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome, long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.